Okay, today we're going to do the Building Earth project. And we'll be using Adobe Photoshop and some of the Adobe Photoshop tools. You're going to download the Photoshop zip folder. And you'll go to your class, assignments, Photoshop zip folder. And then once it downloads down here, you can right click, show in Finder, and you can drag it to the desktop. Double click it, and it's going to make this folder right here, Photoshop. It made another one called Photoshop 2 because this one was already unzipped, and I can just throw these away, and we'll take this folder, the Photoshop folder, that's got these things in here, which I'm going to show you how to do each one of these. Take this Photoshop folder and drag it to the graphic design folder, and if you look in there, you have all your organized projects that you've been working on. So we'll go into the Photoshop folder, and you will need this folder inside your Photoshop folder that you downloaded from the Canvas site, and that folder should be located inside your graphic design folder, possibly on your desktop. And you'll want to use the files inside the Building Earth folder, and right now I have the Word document here, Building Earth, open. So I want you to take the Earth photo and 5 buildings, and take the buildings, make them oversized, and point them outward from Earth. And you're going to blend using Layer Mask. Name each layer. We're going to create stars in the background using a very light green and very light blue. They'll be so light that it almost looks white, but there'll be just enough difference to them so that they look like actual stars. We're going to put a little text on there, and I'll show you how to do some creative beveling with the text, and let's get started. First, we could start with the Earth file, and you'll want to take that JPEG and drag it right to Photoshop. And I'm going to minimize Photoshop, and I'll take the Chrysler building. I'll open that in Photoshop, and notice that there's multiple tabs up here. And let me get one other building. Let's see what this one looks like. Here's a whole bunch of other buildings. Oh, kind of like this building. I'm going to take this one here and open that one. I'm not going to show you all 5 buildings. I want you to try to come up with your own plan on this. So I'm going to go to the Earth, and I'm going to bring out some guides from the edge and kind of mark where the top and side of the Earth is, something like that. And to open up your rulers to bring out guides, you'll need to hit Command R to open and close those, and then you can bring out guides just dragging from the ruler down there. And then this will allow me to put an elliptical marquee right there, and I should be able to make an approximate selection around my Earth. And I will just, if I'm inside the selection, if I'm outside the selection, I try to move it, it's going to make it go away. But if I'm inside the selection, I can move my selection to be positioned a little bit better around the Earth, and that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to mask it. So I'll put a layer mask around the Earth here, and then now we're going to go to Image, Canvas Size, and we're just going to make the canvas size bigger. Let's go to a 40 by 40, and that should be pretty good. So now we got this in our background, and let's make a new layer. And let's go ahead and call this layer Stars. And we'll slide that one just below the Earth here. So they're stars. And then we'll fill the stars up with the default black, and you can fill this stars layer by holding Option and then press Delete on your keyboard. And what that does is it fills with your foreground color. If you want to fill with your background color, you could just swap those and push it like that, or you could just hold Control hold Option and Delete is your foreground, and sorry, I'm messing that up. Okay, Command and Delete is your background color, filling with your background color. Option and Delete is filling with your foreground color. See what I'm doing? So we'll just go ahead and fill it with black. I'll show you the stars here in a little bit. Let's get one of these buildings on here. So I'd like you to just take this building. Don't worry about the layer mask quite yet, but I want you to take this building, click it, and just drag it to your earth. And the layer went underneath, so I'm going to just slide that layer right on top, and we can put it right here, and you can eyeball off on your earth. Now this would be a great time to save this project, so go ahead and do Save As, and just right inside that Building Earth folder you can put in your naming convention, your period, last name, first name, and the name of the project. Building Earth. Save it in there. So now we're going to go to this building layer here, and I believe this was the Chrysler building. Crystal? I'm going to name it Chrysler. CB for Chrysler building. So now I'm going to zoom in on the Chrysler building, and I'm going to show you one of these selection tools here. So let's take the polygon lasso tool, and I'm going to start there and click, and I'm just going to kind of guess where this ending point is here. I'll click here, click here, click here, click here, click here, click here, click here. And I'm just trying to get the basic shape. It doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to use a thing called layer mask. It'll help have the appearance of perfection. So I'm going to select all the way around here. Just like this. And I'm using the hand tool here to make it move, and let's see if I can get to the end. Something like that. Now I have my selection. I'll go down here and I'll click this, which is the layer mask, and so now I have just this building selected, and it messed up over here. That's okay. Now one of the things you could do with this layer mask is you can see how incredibly sharp it is around the edge, so you can double click right here on the mask, or sorry, right here. Let me collapse this so it's not there. You double click on the mask and it brings out this flyout, and you can control the feathering. So you can make that edge real blurry, or you can make it just a little bit softer to kind of give it some more blending into the background. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to turn the earth back on. I'll go back to the move tool, the black arrow tool, and I'm going to find a spot for the Chrysler building. I hit Control T for free transform. That also allows me to rotate. I will take this access point here. I'm going to put it near the center point here, and I'm going to put it right there, and I'll scale it down a little bit, and I'm putting it right around New York. So like that. So let me just show you one more building, and then we'll put the text on there and make the stars. So let's find the building here in Dubai, the building Earth layer. So let's bring this in. Sorry about that. So let's bring this in here, and let's redo that selection while it's in here, because we want our layer mask to be on this document. So if we need to do any repair, oh, and see it selected some of this. I didn't really want any of that. That's okay. We can make that go away by holding, I'll show you, let me make the brush a little bit bigger. I can hold the option button, and it makes it negative, makes that go away. So let's zoom in down here, and we're going to go back to that quick selection tool. Let's see if we can keep the clouds from being selected on this. And this one is all about your brush size. Your brush size helps you select some of this. So now I have that. I'm going to go to my layer mask, and so now we have that building on here. And I did notice that some of the frame got picked up. That's okay. And now we're going to rotate this, Control T. And I'll just rotate this around. Press Enter to make it engage, and we'll put this Control T, and I'll rotate this thing around here, something like that. It's probably a little bit too big, so I'm going to scale it down some. Press OK, and now I'm going to make a text layer. I'll just call this Building Earth. Building Earth. I can't see the text, so I'm going to swap the stroke and fill, and I'm going to hit Control T and just make it larger. Make sure you hold Shift. And so we got Building Earth here. I scaled it up. Let's go ahead and open up your text palette, and that is also Control T, but it's Control T when you're on the type tool, opens up the text tool, but otherwise it will be free transform. So I'm going to go ahead and make this all caps, make it bold. Now it's probably too big. I'm going to hit Enter, and let me show you just some special effects here you can do with the text. So I'm going to double click on the Building Earth text layer, and I can do some special effects, like let's try the bevel. I'm going to do a chisel. You can also do gradient overlay. You can see some of the gradient choices in here. I'd like to flip that 180, I think. Something like that. Building Earth, and you can give it a drop shadow. You won't see that. Let's try an outer glow. The outer glow, the only problem with that is it is really making that text blurry. So let's try to lower that. I'm going to give it kind of a neon yellow look. Not sure if I like that glow so much, but this should be okay. At least you see the effects. They call that a layer style. So that's one of your layer styles here. So we got a layer style with a gradation on it, and you can always eyeball off on those just to see. So we got that, Building Earth. So now let's go to our stars layer and let's start making some stars. The first, your foreground, I want you to make it an extremely light green. A very light, a light green, that's good. And then swap it and make your background an extremely light blue. So now we have a blue, a very light blue and a very light white. And then you take just your brush tool and you make your star very, very, very small. And if you look, I'm just going to click right there. I have a few stars already. I'm just clicking. Make sure you're on your stars layer. And I'm just clicking. And you can swap your foreground and background color by just hitting the letter X. So you can make some of them blue, some of them green. So we got a good amount of stars over here. And then what you want to do is increase the size of it. So vary the size of it with your right and left bracket. You can make them very, very small. You want to make them all different kind of sizes. Just click all around to get your stars everywhere. And make sure you hit X, make some of them blue, some of them green, and then they'll start, the more and more you put on there, the more and more it starts looking real. Don't forget to get some close to the earth, and you need to just fill this thing up. The one thing I like to do once I kind of have a whole bunch of them, you can take a selection tool and you can just copy them to a new place. You don't want to do that too much because then it will start looking fake, like it's all copied and pasted, because everyone will recognize the pattern. But you can't get away with that a couple of times. Like I said, don't forget to go right around, right close to the earth. Many students forget to do that, and sometimes you'll make one, you'll click and drag and it makes one long. That's okay. Sometimes that looks pretty good. So just more and more and more. Let's see if I can take all these. some of those down there. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go to the earth, double click it, and I'm going to give it a outer glow. Give the earth an outer glow. Something like that. Lower the opacity. And I don't necessarily like that color. I'm thinking earth probably gives off a bluish kind of a color. Maybe something like that. Let's see if I can get the opacity just right. The size a little bit more. Okay, that is our Building Earth project. Hopefully you've already built in the naming convention. If you have not, you definitely need to save this using the naming convention, period, hyphen last name, hyphen first name, hyphen project name, Building Earth. And mine's already in here, so at this point you can just hit Command S. Make sure you finish this thing out real nice. Do 5 buildings, scale them up. Make sure you name these layers. Use layer mask. Make sure to increase your canvas size so you can fit it all on there. Put some text on there. A nice little special effect on the text would be nice. And so you'll be using layer effects. And that's this project. Thanks for watching.